Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this legislation here tonight. I want to thank my good colleague and fellow Senator, Senator Anwar, and his work on this subject here in the state of Connecticut. I wanted to say that, things in the way that we deliver our babies has changed over the years. I think about 32 years ago delivering my first daughter versus just 12 years ago, 20 years later, delivering my third daughter. Things really changed. But what is shocking to me, and I think to many of our committee members here, is the maternal mortality rate, which is higher in certain communities, whether it be rural or areas that are socioeconomically compromised here in the state of Connecticut, whether it be by race or geographic area, as you heard speaking tonight. And it shouldn't be that way. It is shocking that in 2023 in the United States, we still have women dying in childbirth. And especially in the state of Connecticut, we pride ourselves on our health care. So this bill provides an alternative for women to deliver on their own terms in a different environment with many times better outcomes. When I look at this bill, and you've heard Senator Anwar go through each section, so I'm not going to repeat that, it really provides a holistic continuum of care for someone who is delivering their child in an environment that is safe, effective, that produces shorter stays for women, that has fewer medical interventions, where the recovery time from delivering a child tends to be shorter than traditional hospital stays. And I can just say, having that peace of mind and that flexibility when you're delivering a child, especially if it's your first one, really is a godsend. Many of these birthing centers are more like a home experience. They're not so, I'll call it sterile, like a hospital. I remember when I delivered my first child, going into the hospital as a young person, just hearing the screaming of another woman, and I wanted to turn around and walk out. Because it's terrifying. But having a child in an environment that is homey, where you have a midwife with you the whole time as a coach, where you are surrounded in an environment that is caring, that is health-centered, wellness-centered, can make all the difference for women. And I think that the statistics really do show the outcomes in the low-risk pregnancies are better. One of the areas that I do want to touch on in this particular bill is the universal home care nurse visit. I cannot stress how important that is. Years ago, my mother, who's in her late 80s, had talked about when she brought home her baby, you got a knock on the door from the local health district nurse who was dressed in the uniform, who checked on the baby, who made sure that everything was working and on schedule, and the baby was gaining weight, whether you wanted to or not. And that was very helpful. Now, I know that many insurance companies will allow for a visiting nurse to come a couple times, but I can say, as a mother, I had been a mother 2 times, and with my third child, and I'm married to a physician, it was a difficult thing. I was older, the baby wasn't gaining weight, and having a nurse come to the house to give you that peace of mind, to be able to talk to a pediatrician, to make you feel better about what you were doing, was something that is so valuable, especially for first-time mothers. And I was a third-time mother, and it was valuable to me then. I think these universal home care nurse visits will be something that we will want to continue here in the state of Connecticut. I think that they will produce amazing results for women and for the babies. And I hope that this pilot that we are going to enter into will give us the data that we need to try to pursue this in the future. The ability for a nurse to identify certain things that should be happening with a newborn that maybe a new mother is not aware of is critical. There are things that can happen in the first couple days or weeks of life that, if intervened with whether it be medication or some other methods, could change the trajectory of that newborn's life. So I wanted to say that for women here in the state of Connecticut, for children here in the state of Connecticut, I urge the circle to really support this bill, because Connecticut needs to be a place where any woman from any zip code from any walk of life, from any race, can be confident that they can have a baby safely and without fear that they could die in the process. So thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Summers. And will you remark further?